This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. I'm very glad tonight to have as my guest Senator Marc Keahey. Marc is one of the bright stars in the Alabama legislature and one of the youngest people ever elected to the Alabama legislature. He is now only 31 years old and serving his first term in the state Senate after serving one term in the State House of Representatives and running for the seat of the former Pat Lindsay, which is a sprawling district, folks, all over almost southwest Alabama. It encompasses the counties of Clark, Choctaw, Escambia, Monroe, Conecuh, and all through the southwestern part of the state, and Mobile and Baldwin.
That's right.
So our guest tonight is Marc Keahey, spelled with an M-A-R-C. Marc, good to have you on the show.
Steve, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take time. He's left the session, which is going on right now, and we have, of course, had Dick Brubaker last week who took time out. Marc is a Democrat, and the Democrats in a vast minority in the state Senate now. I think maybe 24-11 or 22-12.
It's 12 in the Senate.
12 in the Senate out of 35, so it's 23-12. All these years, Marc, it was just the opposite.
Sure was.
Now, you went to the House in what year?
In 2006.
And your district was, at that time, that House district, what counties did you have?
It was all of Washington County and most of both Clark and Choctaw.
And you live in Grove Hill in Clark County?
I do, in Clark County.
And you born and raised there?
I was.
I asked you prior to the show, I didn't know that's a sprawling area there. What television, city, media they watch, but almost your entire district would watch Mobile stations, don't they? Mobile
and, you know, if there was a second one, it'd be Meridian, actually.
They would watch Meridian. Mm-hmm. You really can't get the Montgomery stations down there, especially the further to get down there.
There's Thomasville area in Grove Hill where I live. You know, there's Montgomery. You know, Escambia County. They're probably more diverse than most other areas because they'll draw from Pensacola, Mobile.
Yeah. And
I believe they pick up Montgomery Station and then Dothan's area.
My column is in almost those papers. I'm in Yo County, Clark County Democrat, the Atmore and Bruton papers, and the Monroe Journal, and Evergreen Current in your district. And we have a good readership down there, and it's just a great area of the state. You know, all those years, Marc, you know, I'm a good bit older than you because you're only 31 years old, but when I was a young fellow, those black belt legislators controlled the legislature. Who has Wilcox now? Hank Sanders?
Senator Sanders has all of Wilcox in the Senate.
The Wiley Fox from Wilcox, Roland Cooper, and going even closer to current day, your predecessor, Pat Lindsay, he either was close to your family, y'all are kin, one or the other, aren't you?
Well, I always like to tell people that if we're related, Senator Lindsay was the only one to ever be able to tell how we're related. But usually when he was telling the story about how he and I was related to others up here in Montgomery, he always talked himself back around and told about how we may not be related. So he is well versed in our family tree, a lot more than I am.
Marc, you came to the House in 2006 at 25 years old.
I was.
That may be a record. I knew of some 28 or 29-year-olds. I came to the House at age 30, but they were, Phil Pooh came at a young age. He was in his 20s. Bedford came at a young age. Bedford came to the Senate. You may have tied Bedford for youth in the Senate. He came about, how old was he when he came there?
I think, of course, Senator Bedford was quick to remind me he was younger than I was, you know, whenever I got here.
Was he 28?
Well, in the House, you know, you have to be, the Constitution requires you to be at least 21 in the House, where in the Senate you're required to be 25. And Senator Bedford was elected in the Democratic primary when he was 24 years old and actually turned 25 prior to taking office in November when the general election was. Yeah.
He got elected at 25 then. That's got to be a record then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is for the Senate. I'm not sure about the House.
Marc, Pat Lindsay and Bill Baxley were big buddies, and Baxley was 28 when he was Attorney General. You know, he was DA of Houston County when he was 24, and and he and Pat went in law school together, and a bunch of those guys went in law school at the same time, about the same time at Alabama. Now you went to undergraduate at Alabama, but law school at Cumberland, didn't you?
I did. I went to junior college at LBW in Andalusia.
Do you practice law there in Grove Hill?
I do.
It's a general law practice, isn't it?
It is. It is. And being we don't do bankruptcy work. I'm there with my father and my brother and my cousin, and and since I've been back, I've been in politics the whole time. So
yeah.
Other than bankruptcy law, which is so much of a specialty, I don't know that I've ever told anybody no, because they're always a constituent. So I've got that.
So you handle domestic stuff, everything.
Yeah, and if it's anything I don't, you know, none of it's really a specialty, but you have to learn how to do a little bit of all of it.
Mark, so your father's a lawyer, so you figured you were going to be a lawyer from a long time ago when you were?
Well, I really didn't put all that much thought to it. I don't know how old I was, but I was a lot older than I should have been, that I was still naive enough to think that I was going to play baseball the rest of my life or something, you know. But
I remember doing that.
Yeah.
Mark, now you married one of your classmates in law school.
I did.
Now tell me about your wife, and y'all have 3 children.
We do. Laura and I met in law school at Cumberland in Birmingham.
What year did y'all meet? First year?
Well, I graduated from Alabama in 2002 and started there at Cumberland in August of that year, so that we would have met in August of 2002.
Now, y'all met when y'all first got y'all in the same class and everything?
That's right. We had a few classes together.
And y'all,
I actually did better than her in one class. It was the class that her uncle Brad Bishop taught.
Is Brad her uncle? I saw him this weekend.
Yeah.
He teaches contract law.
Yeah.
Did Brad was still teaching when you did? I had him for contract law, and my daughter Jenny, who practiced law in Birmingham, had Brad Bishop. I saw him Saturday night.
He's a great guy.
And that's her uncle.
Yeah, that's Laura's dad's brother.
Her name was Bishop then?
Laura's father's Johnny Bishop, and there was three boys, and Brad was one of them.
You know, Alabama's a small state.
It is.
I saw Brad, hadn't seen him in years, and he looks great.
Yeah.
So I saw he and Ann at
good guys, great family.
At a cancer gala in Birmingham. Mark, now y'all have 3 children. How old are they?
We've got a 6-year-old son, and then our little girl Scarlett. 6-year-old son is George Marshall Keahey II, so he's marked just like I am. Scarlett will be 4 next month on March the 10th. And we've got our youngest is 5 years old, Lauren Louise Keahey, and we call her Wheezy.
You got a little baby.
Yeah, she's 5 months old.
Hey, Mark, what about getting back to the topic of legislature? You know, when you came in '06, the House was almost 2/3 Democratic, and then when you elected in 2010. Did you see that tsunami coming around the state? Nobody. Did you see that coming? I saw a tidal. I saw a wave. I didn't see a tidal wave.
Yeah, you know, I don't think that anybody did. I hadn't heard anybody say that they claimed to have predicted what happened in November of 2010. But you know, whenever I ran in 2006, you know, my district was such, it was a pretty Democratic district as far as politics go.
Now the House district was Clark and what? Washington?
Clark, Washington, Choctaw. Yeah, but I didn't run around talking about Republican and Democrat stuff, mainly because I really didn't know what one and the other one was at that time when I was 25, you know. But then in 2009, I had a special election, and that was due to what you mentioned, Senator Pat Lindsay's untimely death in January of that year.
So you won that special election,
right? And that was in June of 2009, and that Senate election increased my district from 3 counties to 8 counties. So,
gosh, that's tough. And you're the only senator, about 5 of them, aren't you?
I'm the only what?
Senator for about 5 of them, aren't you?
Well, I represent all of only Washington and Escambia, but it's parts of 6 others.
So you got somebody else in all your counties. Senator Sanders has more of...
I share Choctaw with Senator Singleton and share Clark, Monroe, and Conecuh with Senator Sanders.